Today we're going to be talking about Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. I don't know why I always call this book Ace of Spades, okay? This is the second time that I read this book, and I have to say that I did love it even better the second time around. And I have to say there is lots of things about this book that I love. We are going to have two main characters. We're going to have a girl. She comes from high breeding. She comes from a very, society that's conservative, where ladies are supposed to be, like in the Victorian era when they were supposed to be so very well behaved, so very well dressed, and they were supposed to glide and not walk, and they had to be very educated and very well groomed and all of that. And the thing is that character comes to this city called the City of Sin because her mom has disappeared, and she got a letter saying if I hadn't come back home in, I think it's 2 weeks, I'm dead. So she decides to, before the new year of school and all that begins, she decides to go to the City of Sin to try and find her mother. And I love how shocked she is, because the City of Sin is a very dangerous place. You have a lot of cons, you have different gangs, and you have casinos, and you have girls flashing in themselves in very, very dying dresses, and she's like, what this is. And I love that, it's very shocking for her, where she comes from this very protective, conservative society in which ladies are expected to blush if you see an uncle, to see all of that, how it impacts her. And I love it because just putting herself, getting outside of the ship that brought her to this city, she begins to realize how naive she is, and she's thrown into the company of a gang lord called Levi, and Levi has been living all his life, well, not all his life, but you will see. But he is one gang lord of the Irons, and he gets his life, in casinos, doing cons and things like that. And they are thrown together because Enne's mom said to her, if I don't come back in 2 weeks, I'm dead. But if you need help, go find Levi, and he's going to help you. So these two different characters are thrown together. And I love how they began, because at the beginning she thinks that he is a rascal, that he's dangerous, that he's good for nothing. And he sees her as like very stuck up and very conservative. And I love how they began having the relationship in which they are judging the other without really knowing the other. And they began to see beyond the veils and the deception and the image that they portray. And they began to see behind the mask. And I love how the relationship between the two of them evolve. But we are going to be having Enne trying to find her mom, and she's going to be confronting lots of things that she didn't know. She begins to see how her mom has been keeping her in the dark, and there is a lot of secrets that she didn't know about that are going to begin to appear, and she is going to begin questioning her very own existence, what she knew about herself, what she knew about her mom, what she knew about everything. And I love how she is when the book begins, and I love how much she has evolved when the book ends. I'm not going to tell you about all the hardships and all the questions and all the answers, because I want you to be surprised as I was when I read the book. But I think that her journey is amazing, and I love that the author hadn't made it easy. I mean, sometimes things happen in your life that makes you question everything that you knew about yourself, or you decide to change, or maybe you realize your family aren't who you were expecting, or they don't understand that you think differently. I have been called a black sheep in my family because I am not a racist, and because I love LGBTQ. And I have been like a black sheep because all of them are and so I understand how it is when you come to realize that maybe not everyone or everything is as you thought it was. So I love how Enne is struggling sometimes, because it's not easy when you have life upended. And I love how she feels like sometimes that she's strong, but she's also weak, and she knows how to deal with things, but she also is vulnerable. Because I love this idea of having a character that's completely human, because sometimes you have these amazing girls who are very empowered, who know how to do everything, but they don't cry. I remember in Game of Thrones, in the TV show, there was this moment in which Brianna, after sleeping with James, he leaves her because he wants to go back to his sister, and she begins crying. And I remember there were lots of people saying, oh, she is an amazing woman, she never cries, she's strong, she is. And I thought, but she's human, and she's allowed to feel pain. And this is something that we're going to find here with Enne. Enne is going to be an amazing character. She's going to grow a lot in this book, and she's going to discover sides of her that she didn't know she possessed. But she's going to keep being vulnerable. She's going to be able to cry when she feels pain, and she's going to be able to feel loss and to feel betrayed and to feel different things. And I love that she's so human, you know. Also, Levi, it's going to be an amazing character because he's a con lord. Well, he's a gang lord, but I say con lord because he does cons, because there's a reason why he does a con, but it doesn't end quite well. So, you know, he's in a very hard place. He has to get lots of money. He doesn't have it, so he begins doing different things, and his gang is suffering for it, but he cannot go and say, I'm doing this for this reason, because, you know, you're going to read why. And so, you know, he is in this very hard position in which he has to be lying to his own gang to try to save himself, and he's going to realize that maybe he has been a selfish person, and he's going, you know, to be changing things. But yeah, there's going to be lots of complications, because one of the things that I have to say about this book, and that is why I began very vague, it's that there's lots of surprise in this book. I wasn't expecting anything that happened here. And that's saying something. When you read lots of books, you know, sometimes you pick a book and you are able to guess what's going to happen. This book, it's so amazing that you aren't able to guess what's going to happen. Also, the world that Amanda Foody has created, this city of sin, we have here a map. It's so amazing. It's like the city, it's one of the characters because it felt alive. I love how the city works. I love why it's called the city of sins. I love to see all the temptations the city offers. The book says that when you enter the city can change you, it can corrupt you, it can, you know, show you sides of yourself that you didn't know that you possessed. And I love all the things about all the mysteries, all the mystics about the city, and all the characters that populate this world, and, you know, the different gangs and the relationships they have between them, and the dangerous people and the lurking more in the shadows and all of that. I did love that the city, it's such an amazing character in itself. And as I was saying, I have only talked about the characters because I think that I don't want to spoil anything about the book, because it's very surprising, as I was saying, because there's lots of twists that I wasn't expecting. And yeah, is this a story about this girl who comes from a place where she was very well protected. She's very naive, and she's going to be confronting the world on her own. She's going to be feeling lost, and she's going to be, you know, feeling vulnerable, and she's going to have to find her inner strength to keep on going and to, you know, to fight for the things that she believes in. And we're going to have this guy called Levi that's going to, you know, to try to sort the mess he's into. And I love the combination of these two, and I love the people who they're going to befriend, the people that they're going to hate, and everything. And yeah, maybe I'm not being very direct with the review. It's very complicated to talk about a book when you don't want to spoil anything, because it's an amazing and very surprising book. So if you like books about cities who can destroy you if you miss a step, about dangers, about guns, about car dealings, casinos, and about a girl who's very different from the beginning to the end. If you like books about personal journeys, about friendships, about finding your place in society, about, you know, lots of amazing things, you pick this one, because yeah, I don't know what more to say without saying everything. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.